Today I would like to discuss the developments within BMW of the last 13 years, their brave decisions of the past and where the company stands today. BMW has always had the image of being engineering focused and creating amazing vehicles that always took engineering a bit further than their competitors. This innovative and modern company founded the I Project Group internally in 2008. The task of this think tank was to analyze how sustainable electric vehicles for urban use could look like. They started the electric mini program and BMW Active E and used the results of this field test for their iProject developments. The iProject decided to build two vehicles that would later become the i3 and i8, one fully electric sustainable city car and a next-generation hybrid sports car. Traditionalists within BMW were not convinced, and they feared that this huge new project would eat all of their development budget for conventional cars. So when BMW had to decide whether to go forward with the I project or not, more than half of the company was against it. But we have to remember that the German family Quandt is the main shareholder of BMW since the 1960s. Today they hold 46.8% of BMW, and they wanted this project to happen. Herbert Quandt helped BMW in 1960 with investments to renew its portfolio and hence protected the company from being bought by Mercedes. Today the BMW investment is the biggest one of the family, and Herbert's children, Stefan Quandt and Susanne Klatten, didn't want to be the quiet investors in the background anymore who inherited everything. They see themselves as active businessmen and managers, and they wanted to prove that. Susanne saw the future material of car industry in carbon fiber, and she invested in the carbon fiber specialist SGL in early 2009. Today she holds more than 27% of the company. Parallel to this, BMW decided whether to develop these entirely new car concepts, and the family supported the I project to realize their idea of carbon fiber as a future material. Carbon fiber in cars makes sense if it's used for reinforcements or, like in motorsport, as a stiff chassis where suspension, drivetrain, etc. mounts directly to. This gives you less weight, less parts, and you save space, but it's very expensive. BMW tried to find a way to mass produce a carbon fiber car. The usual manual way with pre-pack would have been far too expensive and slow for mass production, so we used RTM, resin transfer mold, to produce carbon fiber parts, a process which requires large presses and tools. At the same time, it allows mass production of carbon parts. So instead of having lots of metal plates that you would weld together like a normal car, you have lots of carbon fiber plates that you glue together. That does give you a carbon fiber body, but the problem with this design is that the strength is not enough to directly fix suspension and the heavy battery to it. Something you would do in motorsport or at sports cars. The main advantage of a fully integrated body was that you save parts and weight when it was introduced in 1934. So how did BMW solve this issue? They reinvented the ladder frame and called it drive module. The carbon fiber body was called live module. And they basically reintroduced all the disadvantages of a ladder frame. They now had two massive modules that they had to connect with each other, which requires joints and connectors. It needs more space, and since both modules have to be stable enough on their own, they introduced massive casted elements to reinforce the suspension. It's a great idea if you use large castings like the Tesla Model Y and a metal frame to reduce the amount of parts, but in case of the BMW, it's a frame in a frame. Also, because of that, they had a carbon fiber side skirt and an aluminum side impact structure, which reduced the width of the battery and hence its capacity. If we compare that to the underbody design of other electric cars, we can see that they have thinner side impact structures and extend the battery to the very outside. So they used the space more efficiently and could package more cells. Because now the battery capacity of the i3 was not that big and BMW still wanted to provide a good range to customers, they designed a car with a 800cc two-cylinder range extender from their motorcycle division. But this engine needs additional space and adds weight. Even if you didn't order the car with a range extender, the space would be just empty and unused. So if BMW would have fully committed to the EV concept, they could have packaged a longer battery with more capacity and could have used the space in the back for more components or more space on the interior. BMW then used plastic panels for the bodywork. The advantage of them are low costs in production and for repairs, but the low quality of these panels was new to BMW customers. A good competitor for the i3 is the Audi A2, which was presented in 1999, so 14 years earlier. In terms of body shape and dimensions, the cars are very similar. The Audi A2 has an aluminium space frame which weighs 150 kg. In its 3-liter version, it had a drag coefficient of 0.25 and a frontal area of 2.18 square meter. The overall weight of the car was 855 kg, ready to drive without driver. The BMW i3 on the other side has a carbon fiber life module which weighs 138 kg. But we have to keep in mind that we still need the drive module to be able to mount the suspension and battery. The drag coefficient sits at 0.29 and the frontal area at 2.38 square meter. So the aerodynamic drag of the BMW is 26% higher than that of the 14 years older Audi. And if we look at the overall weight and we take the i3 in its lightest version without range extender and we even take the battery out, the weight of the car is 1040 kg. With the smallest battery, it's 1270. And if you order the range extender too, it's 1390 kg. So the new lightweight carbon fiber body structure that additionally requires a leather frame is around 200 kg heavier than the 14 years older Audi in its ready-to-drive configuration. So where does this leave BMW in 2013 when the car started production? The i3 was a radically new car for BMW, and also the design was a new step. It's a nicely driving electric car, and BMW was the first of the big car manufacturers to decide the production of a fully electric mass production car in this new era. The project started promising, but developing a car when at least half of the company is against it is not easy, and that led to internal difficulties. Capable and now frustrated engineers left BMW for American and Chinese startups, and the remaining staff had to finish the project. The concept was washed out during the development process, and although the whole industry had big expectations on the i3, the majority was disappointed when the car was finally presented. Yes, BMW could say they have a real electric car in their portfolio, and it's not selling that bad, but there was nothing coming after the i3 for a long time. And while Audi started to develop the fully electric e-tron in 2013, and Mercedes decided in 2014 to develop some electric cars based on existing ICE cars, BMW stayed quiet and just recently confirmed that every future platform until 2025 will be designed for all kinds of drivetrains because the current management wants to stay flexible and no hard decisions. The problem with such a strategy is that you have the disadvantages of all drivetrain concepts in one car. In the end, we can say that the promising i project split the company. SGL is struggling today, BMW lost a lot of good engineers, traditionalists regained power, new innovative projects were pushed back, and although BMW had a head start, they have to catch up now. In addition to that, the i project was indeed eating up the development budget for other projects. The result of that is that while Audi produced the R8 and Mercedes, the SLS, BMW did not have a proper competitor. While the i8 is an impressive car, its 3-cylinder hybrid drivetrain was not powerful enough and the concept was not competitive. On the other hand, BMW tried with lots of new body shapes of existing platforms to push revenues. And today BMW is a company where internally the traditionalists fight with the new vehicle generation, and they even do this publicly in their advertisements. I, as an E31 and E46 owner, really hope BMW will find back to old strength, but it's hard to see a clear strategy for the future, and making the kidneys larger does not help. Let me know if you are a BMW fan too, and what you think of recent developments in the comments below.